I was born in a small town in Somalia. My name is Sarah. I never went to school, not for a single day. My mother, she never sent me. My younger brother and my sisters, they all went. They put on their uniforms in the morning, their faces bright with the promise of learning something new. Reading words from a book. They learned to write their names, to understand the world beyond our small collection of houses. I, on the other hand, stayed home. The four walls of our house, the dusty yard, the endless list of tasks that awaited me each morning. The alphabet was a secret I was never allowed to learn. My days were a repeating cycle of labor. I would wake before the sun, my small hands already busy. I swept the hard-packed earth of the house floor. I washed the family's clothes by hand, my knuckles growing rough and sore. I cooked over a hot fire, smoke stinging my eyes. When the younger children were born, they became my responsibility too. I changed them, I fed them, I rocked them to sleep. A little mother before I was even a woman, I did this every day without fail. My mother would go to the market. She sold vegetables to provide for the family. I could see her strength and determination. But that strength held no warmth for me. She provided food and a roof, but not the care she gave the others. My siblings lived in a different world, even though we shared the same roof. They were the golden children, bathed in the light of our mother's affection. When they came home from school, she would greet them with a smile, asking about their day, her hands gently ruffling their hair. She would save the best pieces of meat for them, ensuring their plates were full before anyone else ate. If they were sick, she would sit by their side, her face etched with worry, her touch tender and comforting. Their laughter filled the house, a sound that always seemed to come from a room I wasn't in. They were her pride, her joy, her future. I watched this love from the sidelines, a hungry spectator at a feast I was not invited to. For me, there were no gentle questions, no saved portions of food, no comforting hands. I was simply the one who served them, who cleaned up after them, who was expected to be invisible until a task was required. When my mother looked at them, her eyes softened. When she looked at me, her gaze was hard, critical, measuring my worth by the pile of laundry or the cleanliness of the floor. If my brother fell and scraped his knee, our mother would rush to his side. If I fell, I was simply told to get up and stop being clumsy. Their successes at school were celebrated with praise, small treats. My success at completing a mountain of chores before nightfall was met with silence, the absence of a beating my only reward. I was an outsider in the most intimate of spaces, a servant to the children she called her darlings. This constant exclusion carved a deep loneliness into my soul. I would lie awake at night. Was I not her daughter too? Did we not come from the same blood? I would create stories in my head and pull me into a warm embrace. But morning always came, and with it, the cold reality. When I was still very young, a teenager by the world's measure, but a woman in the eyes of my family, my father and my uncle arranged my marriage. They came to me one day and told me a man from a nearby village had asked for my hand. I had never met him. I knew nothing of him. In my world, you did not ask questions about such things. You simply accepted. A part of me, the part that had been starved of hope for so long, felt a flicker of something new. I thought, maybe this is my escape. Maybe marriage would be the door out of my mother's house, and into a life where I might find a little kindness, perhaps even a little love. I was happy to go, to leave the biting and the shouting behind. I was married and moved to a small home with my new husband not far from my parents' house. The first few months were a quiet relief. I woke early, he was a quiet man, not unkind, and the absence of constant criticism was a balm to my spirit, but my new freedom was short-lived. Once my husband left for the day, I was expected to go back to my mother's house. The routine started all over again. I swept her floors, I washed her clothes and helped with her cooking, just as before. My marriage hadn't been an escape, it was just a longer leash. My neighbors would speak to my mother in gentle, suggesting tones. Your other daughters are getting older now. They are strong girls, they could help. Sarah is a married woman now. but my mother would not listen. She waved their words away, her face set like stone. "No," she would insist, "Sarah knows how to do things correctly." She needed me there under her thumb. My hope for a new life began to fade. In time, my husband and I had our first child, and then more followed. He was a good man, but the money was never enough. The pressure from all sides became too much to bear. My husband made a decision. He announced we were going to move in with his mother. A part of me was terrified, but when we arrived, I was met with a kindness I had never known. My mother-in-law was a gentle soul. She spoke to me with softness, and she would help with the children without being asked. Her simple, genuine kindness was like water on dry land, and for a short while, I felt a sense of peace. But living under his mother's roof did not solve the problems. Our disagreements grew into loud, bitter fights. We could not find common ground, from how to raise the children to how to spend the little money we had. The love had long since evaporated, leaving only resentment and frustration. We tried to stay together for the sake of the children, for the sake of tradition, but our marriage was broken beyond repair. Eventually, the inevitable happened. We divorced. My husband no longer wanted me. I packed my few belongings and, with my children in tow, I went back to the only place I knew, my mother's house. The shame and sadness I stood at her door. "You can stay," she said, "but not them. I will not have your children in my house." The cruelty of it stole my breath. It was the ultimate rejection. My life became a painful, fractured existence. I was forced to leave my children with their father, just so I could have a place to sleep at night. Each morning I would walk away from them. At night I would return to a cold floor and her colder silence. This was not a life, it was a slow, agonizing torture. It was in this moment a neighbor planted a seed. She spoke of work abroad in Arab countries, of a chance to earn money, a chance for a better life. The thought was terrifying, but the idea of helping my children, of finally being free, was a light in the suffocating darkness. I had to leave. With my decision made, I left my home, my children, and everything I had ever known. I traveled to an Arab country, a place where I didn't speak the language, where the culture was entirely new to me. I found work as a house cleaner, a domestic worker. Life was a relentless cycle of hard labor. I cleaned vast, beautiful homes for wealthy families. My hands raw from bleach, raw from detergents. I worked from early in the morning until late at night, often 7 days a week. There were no days off, no moments of rest. My body ached constantly. My mind focused on one thing: earning money for my children. Every rial I earned was a step. I sent what little money I could spare. And then my mother called. I was surprised to hear from her. Her voice was not one of concern, it was a voice of demand. She told me I must send $300. My entire salary was exactly $300. She was asking for everything, leaving me with nothing for myself, not even for the children I was working for. She was issuing a decree. I sent her the money for the first month. It felt like a tax, a payment for a debt I didn't understand. After that, I couldn't do it. I had to buy food for myself. I had to buy sanitary pads. Most importantly, I had to save something for my children. I made the difficult decision to stop the payments. As soon as the money stopped, so did her calls. She cut me off completely. The silence was a profound wound. Confirmation her connection to me was transactional. I was not her daughter. I was an asset that had stopped performing. I endured this for 2 long years, scrubbing floors, saving every possible penny, isolated, lonely, overworked. But I grew stronger, more resilient. The journey to Europe was not a simple flight. It was a long and perilous odyssey. We traveled through many countries. The path was fraught with danger. We crossed borders in darkness, hid from authorities, and placed our trust in strangers who could either help or harm us. We faced hunger, exhaustion, and the constant gnawing fear of being caught and sent back. But through it all, we stayed strong, supporting one another, sharing what little we had. We were survivors. We finally reached Italy, and from there made our way to Sweden. The air felt different here. It was cold, but it was the air of freedom. I applied for asylum and, after a long and anxious wait, it was granted. I found work. Simple jobs at first, cleaning and cooking, but it was honest work that paid a fair wage. During this time, I grew close to a man who had made the same journey. He was a kind man, a widower with 2 children of his own. We understood each other's pain and each other's dreams. We decided to build a new life together and we married. Our 2 broken families became one. My greatest joy was bringing my own children to join me. Their father initially refused, demanding money for their release. It felt like I was buying my own children, but it was a price I was willing to pay. We paid him what he wanted, and one by one they arrived. Seeing their faces, holding them, is a feeling I cannot describe with words. My heart felt whole again. I was complete. My family was reunited and we were safe. Years passed. My second husband passed away. I was now a single mother to 5 children, but this time was different. I was not helpless. I worked hard. I paid the bills, and I provided for my family. I even sent money back home. My father passed away, and my mother grew old and sick, despite everything. I paid for her hospital bills. It was the right thing to do. One ordinary evening, the phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice was weak, frail, nothing like the powerful, angry voice I remembered from my childhood. She spoke a single Somali word, a word she had never, not once, used for me in my entire life. She called me Huyo, which means mother. Hearing it from her lips sent a strange shock through my body. I was a grown woman, a mother of 5 myself, a widow who had crossed continents and built a life from nothing. And yet, in that instant, that one word made me feel like a small, lost child again, desperate for the affection that name implied. Then, she told me to forgive her. Her voice cracked. She said she had a secret, something she had carried her entire life, a burden that was now too heavy for her to take to her grave. And then she said the words that shattered my world and rebuilt it all at once. "I am not your real mother," she confessed. She explained that my true mother, her own sister, had died in childbirth. My father had quickly married her. The entire family had conspired in the secret. She told me that she had been very young. She said she had been violated, raped by a powerful man, terrified of the shame, afraid my father would leave her, afraid she would lose the respect of the community. Raising me was a constant, painful reminder. She had poured all her bitterness and fear onto me. She was very ill, and she wanted my forgiveness before she died. I listened. I was utterly shocked, a storm of emotions, but underneath it all, there was also a tiny, strange sliver of peace. Finally, I had an answer. It wasn't me, it was never about me. The pain was new, but so was the understanding.